yeah, so I love to record so then I can actually share it with other people, because you know what, it's such a lovely topic this morning, and of course it's one of the first on the Be Well, Connect and Thrive.
So and Michelle, thank you so much that you invited me your first Be Well, Connect and Thrive. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled, because you know I've been meaning to do this for ages, and I absolutely love sharing other people's work and sharing, you know, how and what makes them thrive, you know what I mean? So if we can, you know, support other people in their well-being, Maura, I'm delighted to have you on, because I know you yourself, it's a big part of your life as well, the well-being piece.
Oh, big time, because I suppose, do you know what now, I think when COVID happened, we were all on roller coasters, and then I think we came off the roller coasters and we were like, oh my God, this is actually lovely. It's lovely to have time to walk down the road and take in what's around us. Lovely to go, you know, because we couldn't go that far. So we appreciate our houses and our gardens and stuff like that. But then when we all started going back to work, or not going back to work, but back to normal life again, I feel we're kind of going back into the old mindset again of like back on the roller coaster again, myself included. And I have to constantly say to myself, hey, Maura, what are you doing? I'm tired, I'm wrecked or whatever. So I think what we're going to be discussing here today is very, very important, Michelle, for anybody who is busy, has a busy life. And let's be honest, that's nearly everybody these days.
Yeah. So I'm so delighted, and we've lots to discuss this morning. So I'm looking forward to all of that. So I'd just like to welcome everyone within the BWELLHIVE, you know, page, and anyone else that's actually joined us this morning. And as well, we'll be sharing this on the different platforms, both on my women's health capsule within the members, but we'll also be sharing it probably on Instagram as well, so people can look back over it and hear about how wellness can be a part of their life too, but also how you can instill maybe a healthy space into the area. So hence why I wanted to set up the BWELLHIVE Connect and Thrive page and series, and we'll be looking at various different wellness pieces and well-being pieces over the course of the next kind of number of months. So I'm going to be holding probably 2 a month in BWELLHIVE page and Connect and Thrive, and we'll be meeting some really key guests and speakers in how they build up their well-being in their space, but also in their work day, in their life, and how they can use what they do to support their well-being in their well-being space. So it's very important, because we have National Wellbeing Day coming up on the 29th. So again, it's very part of, and again, I had my phone on there, so apologies. All these things that we need to do.
You're human.
Yeah, all these things that we need to do and think of, and be sure that we're in the right place. So anyway, so this morning, for our first series of Be Well, Connect and Thrive, I've invited Maura Mackey from MauraMackeyDesign, and I'm sure many people would know Maura if you're part of the Network Cork, or if you're part of Network West Cork. Maura has been in a bit of both, but definitely in Network Cork, and she's been thriving in there for the last number of years with regards to what she does and what she provides to the interior design world. I've been doing a bit of work with Maura with regards to the biophilic, the nature piece, and really that wellness piece. And I think it's so important that first of all that we get out in nature physically, and secondly that we have somewhere in our house, whether it be as small as a postage stamp or as big as you can make it, you know, that we have a space in the home that we can go to be our safe space, number one, but also to be a place where we can switch off and unwind, even if it is for 5 minutes meditation, or it's to doodle, or it's to write a journal, or whatever that is. It's so important as part of our well-being that we bring that in. So I invited Maura to share how she does that. But before we get into all of that, I'd love to just, I suppose, introduce Maura herself, and I'll hand over to you there now, Maura. And tell us a little bit about what brought you into this world of interior design, and you know, and your passion. I'd love to hear.
Well, I suppose initially, I would have done, God, a year, over 20 years ago, I would have done my interior design course and I loved everything about it. But at the time I was working full time because obviously I had a mortgage to pay and stuff like that. And people weren't spending the money that they were then or now on houses then. So I was kind of doing it for friends and family. But then I went back into it, set up my own business, as you know, in November 19. And I have to say, I kind of finally said, I'm now doing what I've always wanted to do. So then I suppose my thing is I turned tired of new properties into modern contemporary designs. And I suppose the big thing there is that nature, open spaces, you know, bringing the outside in, they're all connected. You know what I mean? In the sense of, I suppose, and I suppose I kind of started really getting interested in like how it all works, the harmony of it, you know, and stuff like that. And then I done the workshop with yourself and Grania in Monch Woods last year.
Right, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and it was just, that day was just mind blowing. It really made me realize, you know, the importance of nature and that people really, really are looking for that well-being space, that kind of ability to have somewhere to go to just unwind and I suppose just chill out and have a bit of a, you know, a bit of an area to go somewhere like that. And I suppose people realize how good it is for your mental well-being as well to have an area to go, be it the woods, walk down the road, or even somewhere like in your house or your work to go to switch off. And I suppose I always say like that, it probably only takes a small few steps to actually increase your mental well-being. And it's a bit of self-care as well. A bit of self-care. Do you know what I mean? And so from there, Michelle, after we do the woods, I went away and I done a course with Oliver Heat in the UK, and I just loved all that. I bought the books, and here I am now. So everything that I'm doing now, for whether it's me going into a new build or me going to someone's house and I'm doing a renovation or even a redesign, thing to myself, how can I bring more light, air, nature in if I can, open up the space, make it bright and airy for people, because that's what people want now. You know, like, and I suppose they had time of COVID to realize how they valued their houses, but also in the sense of like what they knew, if they didn't have money before to do their houses, they kind of said, look, I don't have enough. Whereas now people are investing in their homes now, in their properties, to actually, you know, and so are employers, you know? Actually have that element of
that kind of well-being piece, you know. But can I ask you, Maura, when you do this in people's home and you create that space, what does it give back to you?
Oh my God. You know what? Now I just feel when I walk away, I kind of go, oh my God, their life is going to be enriched. I suppose that's what I kind of feel. I kind of feel like they're like a fairy godmother when I'm walking out the door, that I kind of feel, be it like it's a dark space and now it's all an airy space and there's plants and there's light and everything coming in. You're kind of looking at yourself saying, they know, it's like, I don't know, it's like the space is being reborn. And I quote, and I kind of feel like their little grandmother or their godmother kind of saying, oh no, and they're like, oh, they're so delighted to have. I suppose they never thought that they could create that in their own space, either by doing a redesign, a renovation, or even a new, like in a new build, to have it, you know, that kind of way. People are in it now. They really, really appreciate the benefits of it now, I think.
And what kind of benefits would they describe to you when you have, you know, changed the space for them?
Do you know what? No, Michelle, the number one thing is like they kind of say, oh my God, they look forward to getting up in the morning. They never, their space might, like, say, I suppose I'm thinking of one, situation. I had this bungalow and it was like a really dark kitchen and dining room space. And I feel that lady just never thought she was going to have a space that would be bright and airy like she has now. So we knocked the wall, including a new bifold door and the light coming into the space, a light alone. And she said, oh my God, when I get up in the morning, I come up and I see the sunshine flooding in. Even if it's a cloudy day, you'll see the light coming in on the tiles. And as she said, to be able to see, you know, the nice bright colours. And as I said to her, paint one of her walls a colour that loves. She loved the teal colour because it made her like think of the beach and kind of a well-being, kind of made her bring her back to her holidays. So then, including her nice bright spaces, she brought in the wood then, of course, obviously, which one of the natural elements to bring in. And she just couldn't believe, she said, I just can't believe this is my house. She just, like, every day she comes up and she just says, I'm just so grateful. You know, she just feels like she's had a new house. It's like someone's after giving her, like, winning the lotto. That's what she said to me, winning the lotto.
And isn't that fantastic to feel, right? That we can give somebody the benefits that makes their life feel that they feel grounded,
Enhanced
they feel
descent,
space.
yeah.
And when I work with clients from a nutrition space, I can do the food piece, of course, but it's never just about the one thing, Maura. You know, I can provide the food, I can provide, you know, the wellness when it comes to the nourishment, the nutrition, and that power, right? So, but it's never one thing, it's a holistic approach. So there's, and when I do kind of the wheel of life, there's always, you know, their health, their environment, their weight loss, their energy, those pieces. And even within our environment, our energy can be depleted. So when we feel like that lady and she's been given back a space, her energy, I'm sure, went way up.
Way up. And I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, we all do home decor, we all do decoration, and I suppose just to be mindful and to create that holistic space for yourself, that like, if you're going to create it, why not do it right first time and actually have that benefit of bringing in the biophilic design, the nature, the plants, the air, the light, the, you know, the natural elements, to have it and kind of, you know, and realizing, I suppose, the benefits from designing it right first time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
so she, you know, that lady that you were talking about, she got great grounding benefits, the air space, she got the lovely color, but she got the memories that make her feel happy when she's in that space. And when we're in those spaces, you know, and even when we work with our habits or effective habits, in order for us to make us feel well, we need our environment to work for us, don't we, Maura? Do you find that?
Big time. And the big thing, I suppose, like, be it in residential properties and commercial properties, when you change around there to kind of bring the biophilic design concept, and people say, oh my God, like, that they feel happier and chirpier on themselves. And then they're, in turn, Michelle, they're more creative. Because you got a bit of an old, you know, you're a bit of a buzz about you. You're kind of like a pep in your step, and you're kind of going, oh my God, be it work or home, you're kind of going, yes, this is my space, you know?
Yeah. So it's so important to have the right space around you. And you, Maura, now with regards to your own life and well-being, you do what you love in your passion.
I do. And I feel that I'm now doing what I've always wanted to do, in the sense, and I just love everything interiors. I just love everything, you know. I could go in and spend hours in like a lighting shop or a fabric shop and just get lost in it. And, you know, I'd have to be pulled out and say, well, they're closing the doors, you know what I mean? So look, it is, and it's great. And the fact, then the benefit I get then from other people when I see how happy they are after the time I've spent with them, it's just, it's a win-win. And I just feel, oh my God, because I spend a bit of time with them now, their life has been enriched and they're going to have such a nicer life. And and I suppose, when you're recreating spaces, you're recreating because their lifestyle has changed. Maybe their kids have grown up and they want to make the space different for them. So now it's more relaxed space. So then, depending on the ages of the clients as well, is another thing you take into account.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. And that's kind of phase and circle of life, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we go through different phases in our life. But I know when I was talking on the membership yesterday, it was about being proactive and reactive, right? In creating how we feel in our day, you know. So being proactive, you know, I can, I will, I am, are very much words that we bring into our, you know, our sphere in order for things to happen. Because sometimes we feel changing a home is like down the road, or we wait till we retire, or even creating, you know, that little space. But we can be in a reactive space. Oh, I can't, or I won't, or I don't have the money, all those kinds. And that makes our, you know, our environment then feel that we're not being able to, you know, bring in well-being into our home, or bring in these little things, you know. So with regards to budget, Maura, how does that feel with regards to some people that you've worked with? You know, is it a big thing? Is it a big, massive?
Well, you see, Michelle, I suppose, like, I think like you obviously can do it in the big side of things, but there's small steps, ways that you can create wellness spaces, right? And I suppose when I go through the different kind of like I suppose ways to create, so I suppose the first one would be is in your home, regardless of what size your home is or whatever. So this is basically for everybody now, is choose a location, the right location. And I suppose sit down, have a think about, you know, where do you want to put that space in your home? In a sense, and I suppose I say to people, think of a space that's not cluttered, that it's not, that you know that your mind will be free when you go in there. So when you're in there, you're kind of saying, oh my God, I'm not looking at the laundry, or I'm not looking at the wear that needs to be washed. And if it is a space like that, then maybe have a screen, or have some kind of something to kind of close it off, so you're not looking at when you're trying to relax. I suppose make sure that the space is tucked away, like that you're tucked away, but it's not a loud area, that basically that it's going to be a quite relaxing space. And then I've seen a few people now, actually, there was this girl who I done her yoga studio, and she was living in the city, and her yoga studio would have been busy, you know, so like she would always have a water feature in the background just to create that sense of calm there, do you know what I mean?
Lovely.
And it kind of fades out the background noise.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of, I suppose, when they're thinking of spaces, like in the past I've seen people have changed their, layering their bedroom, their study,
Lovely.
or even conservatories now, the sunrooms that the light is flooding in. And then I said to people, if you've got a box room or a bedroom that is nothing but like a throwing, or, you know, a ground where we throw in all the stuff, maybe empty it out and make that your Zen space. And pick a space that had, I suppose, a lot of natural light. And then if you're somebody who's thinking about having it in obviously if you're working in a commercial space, then maybe is there somewhere in your office that you could clear out and actually put a little space in there for employees to go in and actually put something in there. And, you know, and then another thing, in your garden, have you an outside decking, maybe pergola, or even, you know, a shelter spot that maybe you could go out there and do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. In my own mind, I just think, I suppose I keep thinking of this when I think of people in work and stuff like that. I always go back to Grey's Anatomy, and I think of them, you know, their green room, their plant room, that like it's kind of like the stress-free zone. They could be having a real crappy day. They go into the green room, the plant room, they sit down, there's a few wooden chairs there and a few plants, that's it. And there's a water fountain, and everyone is like happy out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. But it's just something like that. I suppose the second thing I would say is include natural elements. I suppose what I would say there would be greenery, wood, natural fibers like linen and jute and stuff like that. And I suppose the best way to include all those elements would be through biophilic design. And as I said before, biophilic design is literally bringing, you know, what you see outside, inside, be it wood, be it greenery, whatever. Go out in your garden, pick up some of the few bits in your garden, bring them in and put them into vase, put them into the space. You know what I mean? It's just, I suppose now I see myself the benefits that people are seeing by creating spaces that have the biophilic design, I suppose, included in it. Makes me really realize then, you know, oh my God, it's definitely something that people are energized by, you know. And I suppose ways that you can add in your home is, once that we could all do is, if you're in a room, pull back the curtains, let the light in. Right, I suppose add colours in a room, be it bright colours, or maybe like what I said there earlier, like that lady, she put in the teal colour and the kind of sandy colour. It reminded her of the beach, so that was a big thing for her. Add plants, that will purify the space and the air and stuff like that. So basically, like aloe vera and fig tree, spider plant, those are the kind of things, Michelle, that, you know, that are great to purify space. And add some wooden items like a chair, like a bench or something like that, or even a small table if you kind of want to create, or even put up a few bits in it, you know, something that maybe you want to put a water feature on top or not, maybe a little shelf that you can put it on. Then I say to people, if your space is too cluttered, then maybe you need to section off that room, you know what I mean? Kind of maybe so that you can kind of cover like a linen curtain or something. Maybe you can put up things now, even like the lines, as I always say to people, that they can put in the inside. You can put one from one side of the room to the other, put a bit of curtain up it, and you have it there, whatever. So the other thing is you can bring it through, like if you don't have the benefits of, you know, being able to put up loads of a big wallpaper on a wall, say if you kind of want to lose yourself in that space, go away and get a piece of art that you like, or maybe a piece of, you know, a picture of yourselves that you've been outdoors and you love it, and kind of brings you that sense of happiness. And I suppose the water features, they're in Aldi. Go away and buy them. You know what I mean? They're €30, €25. And these are just inexpensive ways to create the mood, Michelle. You know what I mean? And I suppose, you know, the other thing I say is, stimulate the senses would be the other thing. I always think I have a scent for home when I have a scent for my mobile home, as I call it, in West Cork, in the sense of, because it's kind of like, it's a kind of a sea smell, whereas when I'm home, I love the pomegranate smell, but when I come in the door, that automatically brings me to my home. Whereas in a nice space like this, you need something calming, like a nice calming candle lavender or something like that.
Lovely.
Diffusers, you know what I mean? In a sense like that, you can kind of have that, let stimulate your sense of your sight, your touch, smell, and hear, you know, that it creates a holistic space that the minute you come in,
Yeah,
like
the senses are fabulous.
Yeah, like the candle, maybe you have diffuser in there all the time, but even like if you knew you were coming down there, maybe light it 5 minutes before you were coming in, so you're in the zone the minute you come in, and it just stimulates the mind, I suppose. The other thing I say is kind of make the space unique, and what I mean by that is like make it a bit about you. Don't make it what it looks like in the magazines. Not everything has to be perfect. Like make it for you. Like everyone's idea is different. I suppose I love doing a bit of meditation. Then other people I know, oh my God, can't stand that. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to go in there, as you said, do a bit of journaling, Michelle. Sit down and do a bit of yoga. So think of what you want to do in that space and then make it unique for you. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, another kind of thing that I've seen people do now is that either on a table or on a bench or something, that they kind of put a little altar with meaningful objects to them.
Okay.
Like Buddhas. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be that, but different things, you know, they can make us. It could be something they're traveling that they found when they were traveling that, you know, was sacred to them, or it reminds them of happy times. And when they're in that space, they look at it, you know, and so that way then it's not limited to, I suppose you want it to be you, a reflection of you in that space.
Your unique personality or branding, isn't it? Yeah. So what is it that really resonates with you, that's going to give you that vibe, isn't it? The happy vibes.
Happy vibe. And you feel cool, you know, like, yeah.
And even, you know, I suppose you talked there about the water features, you talked about, you know, some really nice features there, which not just, you know, to ignite the senses, you know, to bring in that happy space. You know, what comes to mind is a chair for me, you know, that 5 minute. Is there any, you know, chairs that you've come across that would have a meditative kind of relaxing?
Well, Michelle, you can get chairs and stuff like that now that would be or kind of relaxing chairs that you can recline in, and that you can kind of, you know, take it easy. But I find with an awful lot of places that I do for people, or if I'm talking to people, they kind of go, they just bring down maybe a chair from their own place and they put a cushion on and make it comfortable for them. But yes, there obviously is, you know, it depends on, I suppose, the money you have to spend on that space. Obviously, you know, that you can kind of, exactly, the more comfortable, you know, you can bring down an armchair. It depends on the
individual. I suppose in workspaces,
you would have that ergonomic chair. You would have that, you know, the back massage, or you would have the one that would have the, you know, the grounding mat that you could put your legs down and your back down, and, you know, kind of getting stimulate, you know, that your neck would be getting a bit of that, you know, like is it this crowd called Groundology kind of do a grounding mat, and they do kind of wristbands as well, actually, that people put on the wristbands that kind of can stimulate, I suppose, relaxation and stuff like that, and people kind of feel that vibe when they're in that space. And you can get grounding socks as well, Michelle, which I know you'll do it at home, and not necessarily you do it in work now, but you know what, you might. But there's kind of like grounding socks that you can put on, and obviously, you know what now, the experts are there and they have it. What else? Oh, I suppose another thing as well is if it's something you really, really want to get into, there's grounding kits that you can buy online. You know what I mean? There's grounding kits that you can buy. I suppose you can take as much or as little as you want from it. You know what I mean? And I suppose I say to people first, as soon as you know the kind of space that you want and what you want from that space, and even, I suppose it's the same as interior design, I say to people, go into that room, sit down and see what you like in the space, what you don't like in the space. What would you like in it to make it a bit of you? You know, that kind of way, Michelle.
And I find in the hybrid model, a lot of people work, right? So a lot of people, even, you know, today, even my clients, a lot of them would work kind of 24/7. So they'd be in their space, in their office, so for quite a long time. So they might be in there from 9 o'clock in the morning to, you know, 7 or 8. And if they work internationally, they're on the time zone as well, Maura, you know what I mean? So for them, it's like even stepping away from the table. You know, the ergonomics chair sounds fantastic. Is it the Groundology? Is that what you mentioned?
Groundology is the website now.
It's the website, and then you have the website. The grounding,
you can get the grounding socks, kits, and you can get mats and everything. And you know, Amazon do them as well, but I'm just saying if you want to kind of keep it local and all the rest, in the sense that they do it all like that. But well, Michelle?
So the ground on it, that's really supporting our shall we say, our mindset and everything to kind of bring us back to ground, because I suppose when we're
ground us back into space.
when we're on Wi-Fi and we've got, 5 screens in front of us, or we're on our laptops for quite a while, and we have, our phone going off, and we've work phone and home phone, that's a lot of technology around us, isn't it, Maura? So that really overwhelms our stimuli, it really overwhelms our system, it overwhelms our brain sometimes, because there can be so much data trying to be filtered.
All coming at us at once, Absolutely. So at least that helps us then. So the grounding really brings us back, and it really allows from electrons, really support that grounding, because it helps us to realign, doesn't it? So stepping out, into that grounding space, or stepping out, helping us to bring us back into ground, really realigns us and gives us our body a break from big time. And remember the day we were in the woods, actually, Michelle. I remember I open this and I'll show you this here, that I had this these are kind of like moss walls and stuff like that we would do in interior design, or even spaces, commercial spaces that we would have. See, it's the wood in the back, but you just literally put it on walls and stuff like that. But remember the day we were in the woods, that there was people that were saying, could you make up moss boxes for your feet? That like a few of the people are saying they love the feel, and it's lovely and relaxing, that, if you are at home in your own office, or if you're in a space, know that nobody's going to be, looking at you, then why can't you get a moss box? You know what I mean? Just another thing there, just for people to think of. You know what I mean? That
you could sit in a moss box, couldn't you, Maura?
Yes. Yeah.
So you could do, like we call it, the forest bathing, and that's really sitting in nature to get the benefits, so, and that's all through mindset. So we could have a feel of a natural plant, we could have a feel of the moss box underneath us, to bring in that feeling of connecting with nature
and our surroundings.
So it really allows the senses then to work with the plant, the stimuli to open our senses, because what we're seeing visually, what we're hearing, maybe the water feature that you mentioned, what we're nearly tasting, the body,
you can nearly feel yourself in nature, or in the forest.
So that space becomes a sense of relaxation. It becomes a safe space for us to realign and ground ourselves back into, and it could be 5 to 10 minutes, Maura, couldn't it?
Oh my God, big time, in the sense of and I suppose the other thing is that another thing that people love to do as well, is they go out and they take their, if you have a 10-minute break, is that you can go and you can have go take your socks off and your feet, and shoes off, and out in the grass. They say that's fabulous too, in the sense of, but I'm saying, if you can't do that, then this is your next best thing. Absolutely. And again, it's so good to hear that this is so feasible and so touchable as well, that we can buy this, online, or we can, as you said, go out into our garden and get our features, but just creating that small space next to our desk for those that work at home, because the hybrid model, I'm finding more and more, because people do have COVID, they're not fully back to work yet, they're still working the 2 days at work, this whole new regime hybrid model,
the hybrid model, where people could be working at home, but still, when we work at home, we still asked to work at deadlines, we're still asked to be able to perform at our best, and coming under a stress response is not where the body needs to go, is it, more?
No, really, because you can't be creative, then, Michelle, and you're stressed out, so you do need that sense of calmness to bring it back to where you need to be. Where
you need to be, which is in your ground, being present, so that you can provide and of course that comes into wellness as well, which is again going back to the holistic approach. So I think the biophilic design is a new word on the market, more, isn't it?
It's been there since the 1970s. I suppose it was this guy in the UK. I suppose he saw what was happening in the UK, that it was just like a mass construction of concrete jungles, I suppose. Hey, listen, you're getting rid of the beautiful parks, you're getting rid of, and just building these concrete jungles. And I suppose after a while, he was beating on so many doors that they kind of listened to him, and he was kind of saying, you need to bring some of the greenery that's out there indoors and let people see what's out there in the green parks. Because it's like when we were all working from home, if we're sitting at our desk, and I know at the time we would have been looking, God, we all set up desks, I don't know how many places, because we didn't know initially, we were just landed in it, we had to do it. But the days that you're working in a space that you're looking out a window, or you have a view or something like that, or there's a nice piece of art in front of you, is definitely a better day, because you kind of feel in a bit better space. It kind of enhances your mood and stuff like that. And Michelle, I always say to people, if you have a view that you can look out, then make the most of it. And because, you know, it'll benefit you in the long run. Do you know what I mean? It
will. And I think not just benefit our mental health and well-being, but it'll benefit those around us, and it'll have a knock-on effect, because when we're in good form, Maura, and you are in good form, it does have a knock-on effect to people around us. Because we do have stresses in our life. You know, everybody has their own challenges. Everybody will have, there'll be kids, you know, maybe in the forefront, they'll be at different ages, but whatever cycle that we go through, because you know, us as females and males out there, you know what I mean? We all have our hormonal cycles that we go through, and that can be from a young age into our teens, and then we go into our 20s, then we go into our 30s, then, you know, maybe kids, maybe not kids, then into our 40s, and then we go into our 50s, and that can be into menopause and post-menopause. And it all affects our stimuli, it all affects our thought process, it all affects how we deal, you know, and the more
and I suppose the more good things we have to balance that out, then win-win, Michelle. Win-win. My God, big time. And I suppose whether, you know, I suppose getting back to the areas that you like, another little tip is be it you're a male or a female, right? I suppose I say cozy it up and make it comfortable for you. What do you as a man or a woman need in the space to make it cozy for you? Is it the fact that you want a table for, you know, whatever you want? Or is it like, do you want a nice rug, a chair? You know what I mean? Do you want a couch that'll make you feel comfortable? And be it male or female, we all like somewhere to go, Michelle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I suppose the other big thing is, I suppose people are more aware now as well, Michelle, of their outside spaces. You know, like, I suppose I feel when I walk out the door to go to my garden, automatically I feel in better form.
Yeah.
Like yesterday evening, now I went out and I was planting a few pots outside, and I was outside and I was talking away to myself, and I was planting away my pots, and I was like, oh, I'm delighted to get this done and everything. And straight away, while I was doing all that day, and the stress of everything went. You know what I mean? Because you're in the zone of nature, it automatically just relaxes you. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose when you're out in the fresh air, you're getting the fresh air and the vitamin D. So look, added bonus. And if there's sun, win-win. Do you know what I mean?
And all of those contribute to our internal health, which is the vitamins, the minerals, the macronutrients, you know, the micronutrients, which is our vitamins and minerals, and they all really support us to function at optimum every day. And our space and our environment around us is so important, Maura, which is so important that it's free for us to relax. It's free internally and externally, which is inside the home and maybe outside the home. And internally, you know, we might have rooms that might be cluttered. We might have spaces that we haven't got to yet, but that's okay. If we can create a space where we can declutter, and it doesn't have to be, you know,
it doesn't have to be spectacular. Come here, listen. We're all in homes. I'm sorry now. I spend Monday cleaning a teenage boy's bedroom that, oh my God. So listen, I'm not somebody who has, you know, everything is spot on in its place. I'm somebody who's a mother of 2 kids, teenage kids, that like, so I know clutter and I know stuff in turn on the place. But if you could find a corner of a room, a corner of a study, a corner of a conservatory, just pin it off for yourself, your little space, close the door, put down the blinds, even if you know that nobody's going to be there, just to have it for you.
And that's absolutely so true, to have that little space. So Maura, I know we've been chatting there now about spaces, we've been chatting about, you know, really creating. Is there any kind of hints and tips with regards to, you know, for people just to really kind of get on and maybe start looking at a couple of, you know, maybe spaces? Do you have any, you know, areas that they could go to, or your link on a website? Or
well, do you know what now, in the sense, well, I suppose I always said, like, well, I am actually upgrading my website as we speak, and I'm going to have a link in it for biophilic design when I'm finished, but it's not there right now. But in the sense of, like, I will always put in, I'm doing I've done an article now, and I kind of do articles for the West Cork people. And next month there's going to be an article on it about talking about bringing nature and spaces and stuff like that indoors and stuff like that. So over the next couple of weeks, because of, you know, the hybrid model now and everything, I am going to be putting you know, different things that are going to help people, you know, to kind of create those spaces in their offices, be it in their homes, whatever, like to create that little hints and tips. That, so watch out for it. They are going to be there on my Instagram page, MauraMackeyDesign, and I'm going to have, so I just think that it's very important now at the moment when we're going through this hybrid model. People don't know, they're in, they're out, and people, I think, when they're working from home now, are working longer hours, Michelle, so they need that extra. So I suppose for now, straight up, choose the right location, include natural elements in your space, and the right location is key, because no matter how small it is, if it's for you, that's the main thing, and just seclude it off for you. I suppose stimulate the senses, make it unique to you, make it cozy, because you're not going to go in there if it's not. And if, you know what, maybe prefer going outdoors, and maybe, you know, the sweater, even if it's small but chilly, doesn't worry you, you know, maybe it's a shelter area you have, go out and use your space, you know, people like that. But I suppose what I say to people is create it for you. Don't think of other people. And I keep saying that to people, design it with yourself in mind. And I always say that about rooms or anything I'm designing. Think about what you want in this space. Yeah.
Do you know what came to mind there, Maura, make you laugh? An old bath, right? Just came to mind there. If anyone had an old bath, right? And if they wanted that space even to put it into their office, you know, and create the green around it or something. It just came into my mind there. I was like, I love the bath, right? Or something like that. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. That would be cool. Or what people are doing now, they're actually going away and they're buying little shelves, and they're actually they're going away buying little shelves in the range or JYSK down Leyland, and they're actually getting a load of houseplants and they're just putting on, trailing it down to creating their own live wall, Michelle.
Lovely. That sounds really nice,
Maura. So it's nice as well that you're not kind of, you know, that it's nice to see as well. So when you come in, you're kind of going, you're kind of getting into the zone, that you're having the live wall there. But it is like, people are like, a lot of people now would be, you know, say in a space that they might decide to put just showing you an example now, that they might put like some wallpaper or something like this on a wall, just to kind of create that zen space, you know, just bring them into the zone. And you know what, if you don't want to put it on a wall, you know what, now get a bit of, I don't know, get a bit of plywood and actually just paste it onto it and bring it in and out of the space if you need to, you know what I mean? Another thing that is there is like kind of cork wall, wooden wall, that you kind of, you know, even if it's a divider for a room or something, to bring it in. And even we've all got stuff at home that is in the garage that we could kind of put bits of wood in it, and, you know, just to kind of bring in that element there. And another thing that I actually saw when I was at the design show a couple of weeks ago is this material. It's kind of like a wallpaper, but you can actually put it in frames as well. And it's kind of like little jute kind of wallpaper materials and stuff like that, Michelle. And it's like as if you're in the jungle. So
wow,
kind of like,
yes. Yeah, they kind of that basket.
Yeah, baskets, the jute baskets that you can, well, for the baskets, you can bring in and put in the plants and stuff like that. But like, and if it's a space that you're, and some people are just create that they kind of make shift spaces. So if it means that you actually have to have something like this on, I don't know, on wheels or something, or even put it on a bit of 2x1 or something, you bring it in when you need it to kind of get you in the zone, or even something like that. That maybe it's something that you're put underneath the stairs until it's your time. And that's okay too, because people do that too. It could be their working space woman, and they might decide it could be your child's bedroom, like, I'm going in there and just bringing my few bits and getting into the zone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I love
get your little bag of tricks and recreate the space then when you're there.
Yeah. And it's great, because if we have that space, even if it's under the stairs, as you said, I like that.
Yes.
You know, that
put your yoga mat down, and you know what I mean? And like, even, I don't know, in the sense of like, even have something like even a light or something that would be, you know, like, or even like a noise, a nice music going on. Create that zen space, nice rug, put your yoga mat on top of it, and just get into the zone. And it just really switch us off to really kind of realign, ground our bodies, ground our minds, bring us back into the zen space. But I know we are busy working, and sometimes it can be hard to pull ourselves away from a deadline or a talk or whichever, but it is so important that we do that. And it's the power of the bare minimum, you know, that I love that phrase, the power of the bare minimum. We don't have to do it for 40 minutes. We don't have to do it even for 30 minutes. But if we do it for 5 to 10 minutes, it can really trick the brain into being in a different perspective, and really allowing our mindset to de-stress. And when we de-stress, it allows creativity and the other side of the brain to take over, and to be more
aligned with
you feel better, you're in better form, you're in better everything. I don't know, I just feel, and I feel when I'm in better form and when I kind of feel better in myself, then I do a lot more work.
Yes,
I do it in better time, you know what I mean? But I'm just thinking there now, Michelle, when I was in the design show in London, when you said about the bath there now, there was actually one of the stands was there was actually like an old bath, as you said now, and on one wall they had the living wall, on one wall they had kind of like a copper wall, right, and on the other wall then they had tile, and it was like you see the moss kind of growing out through it. Do you know what I mean? And then on the ground they actually had, listen to this now, they actually had moss and straw on the ground. Wow. Now, who's to say, come here, how many of us don't have old baths, or we know of some old baths that are, come here, on the farmers
below, garages.
They're still in garages and stuff like that, maybe you could put something like that in an outside space. Yeah. And have greenery around you and have your bit of zen going on there. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fantastic, Maura? You know, I might even try that myself, because I do love a bath with my Epsom salts and my magnesium in it and my drops of lavender. But sometimes even filling the bath and getting into the bath takes so much time. Whereas if it was there and ready for you, it'd be great, wouldn't it, just to be able to jump in, be it there, and do your 5-10 minutes of meditation, or
you can meditate in the bath, no bother. You know?
That's what just came to mind there. I was thinking,
and everybody in the house would use that. Everybody in the house would use that, Michelle. You can pay it in that now, Michelle.
But yeah, so Maura, thank you so much. It's absolutely been a joy as always to hear.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be your #1 on your Be Well Connect and Thrive, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it is all about connecting and thriving. So connecting with people that really support well-being, support their overall, you know, holistic approach in really bringing well-being and wellness into their life. And with Maura, it's all about your environment and creating that space and creating
that space,
and creating something that's going to work with the personal branding of the customer and personal branding of that individual, whether it's male, female, small, tall, big, you know, it doesn't matter what age, it doesn't matter, but it's creating that
whether you have a big budget or a small budget.
Big budget or small budget. It's so important that when we move forward, that we, you know, create these goals and really to be proactive rather than reactive. So we can do it, Maura. Put the words, change the language. I can create that space. I am creating that space that's really going to support my well-being. So I think, you know, Maura, we'll be looking out for your West Cork people and your hints and tips over the next few weeks on what you're doing. And again, people contact Maura from her MauraMackeyDesign on Facebook, on Instagram.
My website as well, Michelle, but it's on Instagram and Facebook as well.
And you can connect with her.
So it is. And so look, I will be putting more posts and stuff on now, because I think it's so important now, especially when people are at home and they're in and out of, just to kind of have that small bit of space at home. So I definitely think, look, you can make it as big or small as you want, and depending on your budget, you can do it on any budget.
The power of the bare minimum. All you need is the bare minimum.
The power of the bare minimum, Michelle.
Which is great. So Maura, thank you so much for coming on. We've recorded the session.
No problem at all. Delighted to be here.
We're going to put it up and people can watch it at their leisure as well over the course of the Easter weekend. So we want to wish everybody a very, very happy Easter. As I said,
yes, happy Easter, everybody.
Lovely Easter eggs out there at the moment. And don't forget to put the Easter hunt on, you know, put the eggs out into the garden. And it's always a great one in my house anyway, to go looking for the eggs. They absolutely loved it. I'm not too sure now because I have the teenagers. They're more like, you know.
I know, same here.
Where are the lovely eggs, Mom? So, so listen, Maura, wishing you a very happy Easter to you and to your family.
And likewise, Michelle.
And I hope, and listen, thank you so much for coming on this morning. I so appreciate it.
No problem at all. Delighted to be here, Michelle. Thanks very much.
Be Well, Connect and Thrive for a series. So thank you, Maura.
You're welcome, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
No problem.